Hello everyone, it's Silence. Today I want to introduce you to the Leila Olive Pythia Botanica Oracle. This is an oracle card deck that I have had my eye on for, several months, and I'm so excited to finally own it. It is even more beautiful in person than it is online. You may have seen some of the images, especially if you're on Instagram or Tumblr and looking through lots of different decks, which I know I always am. I love finding indie decks, especially because I find the imagery so invigorating and interesting. First of all, the box is kind of its own work of art. It's gorgeous. It's got things printed on the inside. Here in the top, it says, "The space between blooms and you, the pregnant pause, the feverfew, the rose, the bee, begotten, through stardust strewn with pollen, the marigold horizon where the sun and moon have fallen, supernova scabiosa, gravity and artemisia, photon faded to the future's card, a broken glass, the keenest shard." I'll set that aside. It comes with a very nice little guidebook. It has each of the cards as well as some meanings attributed to it. I get and just kind of looking through it as so far, these are not necessarily traditional flower meanings. If you're at all familiar with flower and botanical lore, then these meanings in here are not going to be the same that you're probably familiar with. That said, any knowledge that you have of botany and of traditional plant lore is definitely going to help you get juice from this deck. The meanings are very interesting, and you'll see some of the interesting attributes given to these plants once we get into the cards. Let's see some of the interesting one. Sedate, sorcerer's violet, absolve, connect, endure, disquiet the myth. That's gorgeous. So you get some really interesting meanings out of these cards. I have yet to use them in divination because, well, I've not had them for very long to start with, and I'm still learning them. I'm still getting to know them, and maybe I'm a little bit jealous of them. I want to keep them all to myself for the time being, but at the same time, I'm so enthusiastic about how beautiful they are that I can't help but want to share them with people. So hence why I'm doing a review and walkthrough. Now the cards are printed on some relatively heavy cardstock, but they have a gorgeous flexibility to them, so they shuffle actually really nice just out of the box. They have a matte finish, and if you can see, there's this lovely gilt all along the edge, but it's not the powdery, flaky gilt that you often get. It's like fused with the cards, so I'm not afraid of the cards losing their luster over time and with use. The backs are not reversible. They're pretty similar, upside and downside, upside down and right side up. So you could read with reversals if you wanted to, but it's not a perfectly reversible back. It was the backs that immediately made me want to buy this deck because they're just so elegant and so kind of traditional illustration, but with this gorgeous modern sensibility. I really love them. So let's get started with this walkthrough. Sorry, I had to take a moment to make sure that all my cards were upright. And I'll try to split the difference between showing you the full card and giving you the names and descriptions of the cards as they appear. So Cosmos is poised stardust. Indigo is influence. Bluebells are gratitude. Bindweed is connect. Narcissus, look away. Open hearts is the rose. Elderflower is transfer grief. Reverie, elecampane. Sedate, poppy. Artemisia is focus and release. Protease, sea change. Reflect, emit is Bethroot. Beautiful. Sacrifice is anemone. Aconite is boundary. Devil's bit is scabiosa. And this is a term explained somewhat in the book. Tempt, forget, is belladonna. That's really gorgeous. Eyebright is merriment. Rosemary, of course, is remember. Take root is magnolia. Such a beautiful flower in this image. Errant repose is henbane, one of my personal plant spirit allies. Begin forever is nasturtium. Passion flower tells us to endure. Lethe of the heart is borage. From ash is fireweed. Beautiful. Forgo is hawthorn. Love's will is moonflower. Ancient sight is sage. Quell is uva ursa. Hyssop is for cleansing or cleanse. Bloodroot tells us to entrance and entreat. Dig, pull, bury is black cohosh root. Time is absolve. Grow together is comfrey. Here's foxglove. Unspoken, unsummoned. Escape is celandine. Bay laurel, eternal. Sanctuary, Queen Anne's lace. Oh, and here's that mandrake root. Disquiet the myth. In love and death is myrtle. Sorcerer's violet is periwinkle. Invert fear is blackthorn. That's really interesting. Enchant is cinquefoil. Fate is dahlia. Bite, breathe, conceive is quince. And interesting because we usually think of quince fruit and not quince flowers. So I think this is an especially interesting card that kind of challenges our immediate associations with some terms. Ameliorate, feverfew. Peace is valerian. Oh, they're stuck together. Here we go. Embrace is globe mallow. And finally, outshine apathy from marigold. So as you can see, this is not perhaps your familiar oracle decks. There are certainly meanings that you will find in other oracle decks, like peace and rest, that kind of thing. But words like ameliorate and bite, breathe, and conceive, these are not terms that I've found in lots of other oracle decks. And to me, that's one of the things that makes this so interesting. I think this is a great deck for people who work a lot with nature energies, especially plant energies, but also people who need a very gentle healing reading, because the energies that I get from this deck are very gentle and comforting, but not in the sense that they're going to pull any punches. I mean, you have cards like Mandrake and Henbane. You know, these aren't going to be necessarily cards that are going to pat your hand very nicely and sugarcoat their messages. But at the same time, they're not going to be rude about it, if you know what I mean. I mean, some decks are a little brutal when it comes to getting their message across, and I don't think that that is the attitude that this deck really comes with. I cannot wait to start doing readings with this deck. I think it's beautiful. I think that it's really going to intrigue clients that I work with. I think that it's going to give some very interesting intuitive messages and really stimulate a lot of great conversation between me as a reader and the people that I'm helping. And getting that conversation started is so often essential for readings. You know, I really see the divination I do as a form of spiritually aided counseling. I'm in no way an actual licensed counselor or anything like that, but simply giving people a space to talk about their experiences, their fears, their concerns. That can be very therapeutic. And I see that spirit of helping and of guiding people to their own knowledge as being very much a part of what makes this deck itself, and really sets it apart from certain other divination tools that I might reach for in working with clients. This deck is a little harder to find. I got my copy from Ritual Craft, which is a Denver-based metaphysical shop. They've got a number of indie decks available. The artist does have an Etsy store. Exactly when and if you can find the decks on the Etsy store is a little iffy. For a while I was able to, and either they sold out or they're just no longer available through Etsy. I'm not sure. So you have to do a little bit of hunting, I think, to get a hold of this. It was under 40. I think it was about $36, $38 altogether, without shipping, of course, US currency. So it was a little more expensive, but right kind of where most indie decks are. I hope you have enjoyed this walkthrough. I hope that this has been an enjoyable video and really gotten you interested in this very fascinating and very beautiful divination tool. Thanks for watching.